profound? Because sometimes when I'm conversing with people, I'll ask them, I said, what has to be the case for you to even raise the question? Well, what has to be the case is there's got to be evil in the world. That's right. Some things have to actually be bad. Let me tell you why. There's actually two things that follow from this that will, I think, knock your socks off if you get them. There's a very popular point of view in our culture today. It's one that I wrote my first book about. And that popular point of view is called relativism. Relativism is the view, when applied to morality, that there is no objective right or wrong. There are no absolutes, if you will. That there are just things that people believe and they have different preferences, but nobody's in the position to say anybody's view is any better than anybody else's. Morality is made up. Our group or as an individual, we make up morality, we follow our own preferences, and that's all you can say. And so people who believe this, which are pretty much most of the population in a knee-jerk kind of way. I don't think ultimately down inside they believe it, but they'll talk like that. And they'll say things like, well, you shouldn't push your morality on me. Or who are you to say what's right and what's wrong? It's a matter of individual. You ought to tolerate other people. You know, let him do his thing, she can do her thing, we'll let you do your thing, whatever. That's moral relativism. Now, what's curious about this very, very popular view is that if evil is real in the world, if there is a real problem of evil, it is only a problem of evil, it is only a real problem of evil if evil exists in an objective sense. In other words, why does God allow that evil out there? That thing somebody's doing, that was terrible. That's an evil thing. Why would God allow that? You notice that such a statement requires an objective or absolute standard before you can call that thing evil. But this is the very thing that relativism rejects. So if you are a relativist, you cannot help yourself to the problem of evil because you don't believe in evil. The word evil is simply a word that describes things that you don't like. It might be better to illustrate this. Let's just say somebody came up to me and said, I can't believe in God. I say, why not? Brussels sprouts. Brussels sprouts. Yep. I don't get it. What's the deal with Brussels sprouts? He says, do you ever taste those things? They're disgusting. Now, I happen to agree with him on that particular point. But some people do like them. I imagine some people in the South. When I get to the South, I think people like Brussels sprouts. Some of you like Brussels sprouts? Yeah. This is... You really like it. That's weird. I'm just going to tell you right now, that's weird. Don't take me out tonight for Brussels sprouts, all right? It's not my thing. But you notice that some like them and some don't. Wouldn't it be odd if this person said to me, I can't believe in a God that makes something so distasteful to me as Brussels sprouts? Well, that would be ridiculous, wouldn't it? But that's what the objection to evil amounts to coming from a relativist. Because a relativist thinks that moral statements are just like preferences, like tastes. And if there are no true moral standards, then there can't be any violation of those standards. How many people out here bowl? Any bowlers in the audience? Quite a few. And when I go to California, I ask that question, nobody wants to admit it, right? Chicago, everybody raises their hand. They're all there in their bowling shirts, you know, at church. How do you know a good bowler from a bad bowler?
Score.
Is it the style? Obviously, you can see I'm not a bowler. No, they can look great, but if they throw gutter balls, what? They're a bad bowler. How do you know a good bowler from a bad bowler? The score, very simply. There is a scoring system that allows you to distinguish good bowlers from bad bowlers. And frankly, it doesn't matter how a person looks going down the, whatever you call that thing, the aisle. If the ball goes and hits all the pins, that's good. And if you get 300 in a game, that's a perfect score. Man, you're a great bowler no matter how you look. Now, the point here is simply this. The concept in general, the terms good and bad are relative terms. And what I mean by that is they only have meaning when they are related to some standard. So we know a good or bad bowler because there is a standard of perfection. And that standard of perfection is the scoring system of bowling, and 300 is perfection, and the closer you get to perfection, the better a bowler you are. Lewis said a good portrait is considered good by how it compares with the original. Now, what if it turns out there was no scoring system in bowling? What if it turned out there was no original portrait? You wouldn't be able to say whether someone was a good or a bad bowler. You couldn't say whether a portrait was a good or a bad portrait because there is no objective standard to compare it to. Therefore, if relativism is true, which denies that there's an objective standard, then there can be nothing to compare actions to determine whether they're good or bad. Therefore, if relativism is true, you can't have true good or evil. You only have things that happen that are individual preferences. That's it. So, given the simple observation that evil is real, that evil is something, we first can conclude, well, then relativism must be false. And in fact, if I am dealing with the issue of relativism, and I have only one argument to give to demonstrate to somebody that relativism is false, this is where I go. I ask them, the person, he's a relativist, do you believe in the problem of evil? Have you ever complained about the problem of evil? Sure have. What is that evil? And then I go on from there, trying to get them to clarify and show me how you can have a problem of objective evil when in fact you have no objective right and wrong at all. This is a powerful refutation of relativism. And so if the problem of evil is genuine and real, relativism must be